Very good morning and warm greetings to everyone. Today we are going to see about the introduction of reinforced cement concrete structures, that is RCC. You can see most of the structure is made up of the RCC structure. So it consists of the elements like footing, plinth beam, column, beam, roof slab, and sometimes the underground sumps and overhead tanks. So this is a most used materials all over the world. So in the olden days, we have used the working stress method for the design of RCC structural elements, and for the past 15 to 20 years, it has been replaced by the limit state method. That is the current method which is used for the design of RCC structural elements. In addition to that, one more method which is called as ultimate load method. So there are three types of design of RCC structural elements. The first method is called as working stress method. The second method, which is called as a limit state method, and the third method, which is called as ultimate load method. So in the case of design of RCC, we are following the IS code, IS 456. So based on the IS code only, we are designing the structural component in the case of RCC structures. Now coming to the three methods which are used in the case of RCC structural elements, we deal one by one. The very first method, which is called as working stress method. So this is the oldest method. So it has been used for very long years and very long time. And here the working stress, the allowable stress of the material is limited. It is up to the yield stress. Again, we are giving the factor of safety for the steel as well as the concrete, which is a higher value compared to the limit state method. But nowadays, this method is completely obsolete because of the new method and more comprehensive method. It is called as a limit state method. So before you take some 40 to 50 years back, even the IS code provisions, IS 456, they are not considered all the parts of the India are subject to or vulnerable to the earthquake. But in the case of the new IS code, the recent IS code, for example, 20 to 25 years back, they have included all the factors, even for the load, then for the stresses, either tensile, compressive, or bending, or shear stress, right? They have taken for the inclusion of earthquake forces. Because of these earthquake forces will have a lot of impact on the structural elements, or you can say to the whole structural elements. So then in the case of limit state method, it is a more comprehensive and mostly adopted by all the countries, that is the internationally, the limit state method. In the case of limit state method, we have taken both the ultimate load method and working stress method feasibility, and they are included in the limit state method. So here there are two types, that is limit state of the loads and limit state of serviceability. That is the limit state of loads, even for the load including the wind pressure, they are given in the case of the IS code provisions. Then even they are given the partial safety factors for the loads as well as for the materials. Accordingly, based on the IS code, we can take all these partial safety factors. So these are all very important even for part 1, part 2 and part 3 of the wind forces that is given in the IS code. So based on that only you have to use the design in the case of RCC structural elements. So here in the case of limit of loads, some partial factor of safety is given. Similarly for the cracks, that is cracks and deformation or the deflections, that is called as limited of serviceability, the crack patterns, and what are the things to be done in the case of the limit state of serviceability, that is cracks and the deflections, that is also taken care of in the case of limit state method. So nowadays we are following the limit state method only, and the third type, which is called as ultimate load method. So we are analyzing the characteristics of the material at the time of failure, that is called as the ultimate load. So if you are designing the structural, right, you should be very careful. Even the material characteristics should be 100% perfect. So otherwise, something happens to the material in the structure, sudden collapse will be there. So that is the ultimate load method. So nowadays we are always giving preference to the limit state methods because of so many advantages and a more comprehensive method, and also the internationally adopted method. So this video we have seen about the various methods of RCC design of structural elements or the structures. The first method, which is called as working stress method, the second method, which is called as limit state method, and third method, which is called as ultimate load method. Thank you very much for patient listening. வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன். The next video we can see about the some part of the working stress method, and we can see in detail about the limit state method design for the beam, column, roof, then for the water tanks, RCC water tanks, etc. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.